The Mazda CX-60 is tasked with bringing the Japanese manufacturer more upmarket than it's ever been before. It sits atop the Mazda range, above the CX-5, above the Mazda 6. And Mazda isn't shy about who it's targeting. They're benchmarking the Audi Q5, the Mercedes GLC, and the BMW X3, among many others. The design, as you can see, does evolve from the current design language of Mazda, but it's quite new. At first glance, you think, oh, is it just a bigger CX-5? But there's a lot more to it. And it is bigger than the CX-5. The wheelbase is longer, the boot is bigger, the car is wider. It is a different offering. The most different thing you can see about it is probably these headlights. And it's a stacked design for the first time. It's quite distinctive, especially looked from the front. It's also got a really unusual daytime running light graphic here, along with, of course, the obligatory bigger grille. And while there will be new straight six, petrol and diesel versions of the CX-60, the big news is actually the plug-in hybrid model. It's actually the first ever plug-in hybrid Mazda. As you can see, PHEV badging here. It's a big deal for Mazda. It's the first ever plug-in hybrid that it's selling. Under the bonnet is a development of its existing 2.5 litre petrol engine. It's mated with a 100 kilowatt electric motor and an 8-speed automatic transmission. That actually should get more recognition than it probably will. It's Mazda's new 8-speed automatic, and it's very advanced. We'll talk about it later in the year when we get to drive the car. For the moment, what it all means is you've got 327 horsepower and 500 newton meters when the electric motor and the engine are working together. And that makes this the most powerful Mazda road car ever, surprisingly. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.8 seconds, so it's quite a powerful, fast car. On the flip side, there's a 17.8 kilowatt hour battery here between the wheelbase, which is mounted low down, and that allows a range, an electric range of 63 kilometers depending on specification, 60 kilometers for some. That's pretty good going. The design of the CX-60, especially when viewed from the side, betrays the fact that this is a rear-wheel drive architecture, and it's a big change for Mazda. All of its other cars are front-wheel drive biased, even ones with all-wheel drive. Most CX-60s will come with all-wheel drive, actually. And in the hybrid, that doesn't mean just from electric power at the back. So the electric motor, the engine, and the gearbox are all in line in the front. So they're longitudinally mounted. And whether you're on electric power or you're on combustion power or a combination of the both, they go through that automatic gearbox to a drive shaft to the rear wheels and to the front wheels when needs be. It is a rear-biased all-wheel drive system. So in normal mode, traction's good. The vast majority of the engine output or the motor output goes to the rear wheels and adjusts to the front dynamically as is needed. The petrol and diesel versions actually will come with the option of rear-wheel drive as well. Even accepting the fact that we're in the top spec version of the CX-60 here, the interior is actually quite special. There's some, as Mazda likes to say, handcrafting everywhere. This stitching is really unusual in the dashboard. It's very distinctive, it's tactile, and actually that same theme spreads throughout the whole cabin. On the other side here, you've got this chrome-plated material on the doors. You've got lovely stitched leather, and again, this is maple wood here on the side. It's all textured. It varies across the range, but there's clearly a focus on going premium, adding texture, adding tactility, and this is genuinely an interior that you want to touch, you want to feel. It's also got a new steering wheel, actually, so it maintains Mazda's 3-spoke design, which is great for driving and it's nice to hold, but it's just got this extra little seam in it, an extra double stitching, and it just lifts it all again. Now, there is more interior space here than in the CX-5. It is a pre-Cible. This is a wide transmission tunnel, which I think gives away the fact that there's a gearbox underneath that is rear-wheel drive. And Mazda did that on purpose as well, to convey that. Nonetheless, it's quite practical in here. There's a big glove box, there's cup holders here, there's a butterfly console here, there's loads of spaces. 2 USB-C ports there, there's another 2 USB-C ports in the back, there's 12-volt charging ports, everything you would hope to find. One thing we're very happy to find is physical climate controls. We bang on about it a lot in our reviews. A lot of manufacturers have moved these to the touchscreen, and we're not a fan of that. Mazda has not, and it's very tactile buttons here as well, actually. It works very well. In terms of the touchscreen, some people and some buyers will probably see the fact that Mazda has stuck to a relatively small, compact touchscreen in the middle of the dashboard here. It is not on trend, that is for sure. Screens like those in the Ford Mustang Mach-E, Teslas, etc., they're bringing bigger screens into the zeitgeist, if you like. And it's quite brave of Mazda not to do that, to stick with a small screen. Now, it says that It is better for driving, it's not distracting, you don't need it, and it does work. It works very, very well. They've stuck with this rotary controller in the middle as well, so it makes it very easy to navigate through it. Supplementing that is a much larger head-up display than before. In here, in the middle of the dashboard, of course, there's a digital screen as well. It's very clear, it's very crisp. It changes depending on mode as well. It changes appearance depending on mode. But the overriding impression here is definitely quality. It'd be interesting to see what the lower spec models are like, whether Mazda can continue that all the way down the range. Before we get into the back and describe the back, it's worth pointing out how wide opening these doors are. It's nearly 90 degrees there. It makes getting in and out really easy, or if you're putting kids in, also easy. Now, inside, it feels just as high quality in the back. And actually, something I didn't mention at the front was this lovely stitching effect in the backrests of the seat. It just lifts the ambience even further. I've set this seat at its lowest setting up front, which isn't too low actually, so you still get a great view out. I've got absolutely loads of room for my feet. Plenty of knee room, plenty of headroom too. It isn't a massive family car. You won't get 3 child seats in here, but 2 adults would be very comfortable back here indeed. There are air vents, there are heated seats in this particular model, chargers, and as I mentioned, USB ports there as well. From the start of development of the CX-60, Mazda knew that there was going to be a plug-in hybrid model, and it put the battery, as I mentioned earlier, in the wheelbase, down low, in the middle of the car. That means there is no compromise in the boot space. So no matter which model you go for, there is 570 litres of space here, which is decent, it's big. And it's blocky as well, so it's quite easy to load. There's a wide aperture here. Under here is some extra storage space for cables, etc. And the seats, as you'd expect, split and fold flat. That's made quite easy actually, because there's handles in the side of the boot here. And there are also handles on top of the seat. So whether you're in the car or in the boot, you can put those seats down. That's our first look at the Mazda CX-60. Really looking forward to driving it later in the year and seeing if Mazda's considerable investment in this new rear drive architecture comes through in the driving dynamics. Now, the plug-in hybrid is really interesting. The pricing will be important in Ireland. Mazda does say it's benchmarked the Audi Q5. In plug-in hybrid format, that costs about €60,000 in Ireland, so if Mazda can come in under that, it'll do quite well, I think. It's a big statement from the brand to come in at this level, premium model, and this is just a starting point. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future.